A young soldier stands at attention as his officer beats him without mercy. One shove sends him crashing backward, straight onto a nail sticking out of the wall. Before you can even process the pain, the story rewinds to the day before his enlistment. And Jun-ho is a delivery driver barely surviving. His boss cheats him out of unpaid wages, forcing Jun-ho to threaten legal action just to get what he's owed. It's the last moment of normal life before everything changes. Jun-ho soon enlists in mandatory military service and joins a group of new recruits thrown into 5 weeks of relentless training. Abuse is constant, discipline is cruel, and silence is survival. During training, a private named Sukbong is shoved back violently, revealing the truth behind the opening scene. Inside their bunk room, soldiers are forced to stand and endure physical punishment from their commanding officer. When Jun-ho's turn comes, he narrowly dodges the blow, avoiding the same brutal fate. Jun-ho is assigned to Platoon 3 under the military police. When his officer publicly reads personal letters meant to humiliate him, Jun-ho speaks up, nearly causing things to explode. Before it gets worse, Sergeant Park intervenes and pulls Jun-ho aside for a private interview. Jun-ho's sharp attention to detail catches Park's interest. Because of this, he's offered a role in the DP unit, a team tasked with tracking down army deserters. Paired with the careless and slow-moving Sung-woo, Jun-ho heads out on his very first mission to find a deserter named Shin Woo-suk. Instead of searching, the night spirals into heavy drinking and karaoke. Outside the bar, a quiet boy asks Jun-ho for a lighter. Jun-ho hands it over without a second thought. Later that night, everything collapses. Shin Woo-suk is found dead. He took his own life. The lighter used at the scene belongs to Jun-ho. Crushed by guilt, Jun-ho breaks down when the evidence is recovered. Unable to cope, he snaps, turning his pain into violence and brutally attacking Sung-woo. And just like that, Jun-ho learns the horrifying truth of his new job. Sometimes finding a deserter means arriving too late. Jun-ho's punishment hits fast. After attacking a superior officer, he finds himself locked up by the military police, unsure if his army life is already over. Surprisingly, the command decides to let him go, placing the blame on Sung-woo instead. But freedom doesn't bring relief. Jun-ho is still drowning in guilt over Woo-suk's death. Back in the barracks, the pressure only gets worse. Sergeant Hwang pushes Jun-ho relentlessly, until a familiar face returns, Corporal Han. Fresh from the military hospital, Han brings a calmer, more humane energy to the unit and immediately steps in to protect Jun-ho from further abuse. Before Jun-ho can even settle in, a new case arrives. A deserter named Choi Jun-mook vanished 2 months ago after being last seen at Incheon Station. With no clear leads, Han takes charge and decides to hunt differently, not like soldiers but like the deserter himself. Using Jun-mook's journal, Jun-ho and Han retrace his footsteps, following clues linked to a woman named Hae-jong. Days turn into weeks, and Byung-gu grows frustrated as the search drags on with no results. That's when Jun-ho notices something others missed. Jun-mook only moves at night, sleeping at random intervals like a vampire. The pattern explains everything: why he missed his stop, why he nearly died on the train tracks, and how he managed to stay hidden for so long. Thanks to Jun-ho's sharp instincts, they finally locate Jun-mook and bring him back alive. The mission is a success, but the victory feels hollow. As Jun-ho returns to base, the weight of his past failures still clings to him, reminding him that in this job, saving someone doesn't always erase the damage left behind. Jun-ho and Corporal Han are riding high. Their work in the DP unit finally earns recognition. 7 deserters caught and a rare reward: time off. For a moment, it feels like freedom. That peace doesn't last. A sudden call sends them straight to Busan, where another DP unit needs help with a dangerous case. This time, the target isn't a scared runaway. It's Jong Hyun-min, a volatile deserter believed to be hiding at his father's home. When Jun-ho and Han confront him, Hyun-min snaps and bolts. The chase turns chaotic, ending with Ho Yeol badly injuring his back. Worse still, the situation is twisted into a complaint, painting Jun-ho and Han as troublemakers in the Busan district. Byung-gu refuses to pull them out until the deserter is caught. Searching for leads, the pair end up at a karaoke bar, where they cross paths with Yang Ok, a woman closely tied to Hyun-min. She quickly takes an interest in Jun-ho, but the truth behind her situation is far darker. Yang Ok is trapped in an abusive relationship. Hyun-min beats her, manipulates her, and drains her money. She's been completely played, but she's also the key to finding him. To set a trap, Junho and Han agree to pay off Yang Ok's debts, 3 million won. In exchange for her help, Junho sympathizes deeply, seeing pieces of his own past reflected in her pain. The plan leads them to the docks, where Hyemin is finally cornered. When he turns violent, Junho steps in, landing a decisive blow. His boxing skills help bring the fight under control, and the deserter is finally arrested. But the victory doesn't last. As Yang Ok disappears, the truth is revealed. The money left behind is fake. Gift certificates. She's taken the real cash and vanished. Returning to base, Junho and Han are hit with another blow. Their entire leave has been burned in Busan. Then comes the final shock. Byung-gu pulls Junho aside with devastating news. His father has collapsed back home. Junho is granted leave and heads straight to the hospital, face to face with the man who shaped his trauma. His father, a longtime abuser, shows no warmth, no remorse. The hatred between them is mutual, and Junho leaves after making one thing painfully clear. The day his father dies will be the first time he laughs. Back home, Junho crosses paths with Corporal Han, who's casually eating barbecue with his family. The contrast is unbearable. The moment turns awkward fast, and Junho rushes Han out, unable to watch a version of family life he never had. Before leaving, Junho finally confronts his mother about the years of abuse, begging her to escape. She refuses, trapped in the same cycle that's defined her life. Junho leaves knowing nothing has changed. Back at the base, the damage inside the army becomes impossible to ignore. Junmook continues to spiral into depression, and his mother openly challenges Captain Lim, calling out the army's hypocrisy, training her son to protect the nation while failing to protect him from abuse. Her anger is justified, but command chooses silence over accountability. That night, another deserter appears on the radar. Chi-do, a high-risk rappelling soldier and known gambler, flees the base after injuring his arm during a dangerous escape down the mountain. Junho and Han are sent once again. The search turns chaotic as they sprint through the barracks, accidentally charging into the women's quarters and triggering a formal complaint. Even in pursuit of justice, the system pushes back. Inside the dorms, the cycle of violence continues. With Sergeant Huang days away from discharge, his long-term victim Sungbok has transformed into someone cold and cruel, passing his pain down to younger recruits, while still suffering beatings himself. As Junho and Han dig deeper, they uncover the truth behind Chi-do's desperation. He wasn't running for himself. He was trying to raise money to place his dying grandmother in a sanatorium. The gamble, the injury, the escape, it was all for her. The case hits Junho hard. For the first time, he reaches out to his mother, hoping, maybe, to change something. Then everything shatters. A new alert comes in. Sukbong has deserted the army. Sukbong finally snaps. After enduring endless abuse, he explodes, brutally beating a fellow soldier with a helmet and leaving him bloodied on the floor before calmly walking away. The incident sends shockwaves through the barracks. Command panics. With the media looming, the order is clear. Find Sukbong quietly and fast. Captain Lim and Byung-gu turn once again to Junho and Han. While Junho questions the injured soldier, Han and Byung-gu track Sukbong's past, only for the situation to spiral further. Sukbong uploads a dark webtoon online, revealing his mindset and foreshadowing what's coming next. Armed with a knife and rope, Sukbong sets his sights on the discharged sergeant who tormented him. What follows is a desperate race against time, pulling in the Busan DP unit to prevent a murder. Junho nearly reaches him first, but chaos erupts outside a bus terminal when one of the Busan officers is struck by a bus. Sukbong escapes again, cornering Han inside a movie theater and threatening him with a knife. With everything on the line, Junho rushes to warn Sergeant Huang, the man Sukbong wants dead. Huang dismisses the threat and slams the door in his face. Moments later, Junho is tasered, handcuffed, and left helpless as Sukbong moves in for revenge. Huang initially overpowers Sukbong, but the cracks show. Sukbong sees the fear, slashes him with a knife, and flees, laughing hysterically. Junho and Han finally catch up to Sukbong and restrain him. Watching him in cuffs is devastating. A broken soldier pushed past his limit. As they escort him back, Byung-gu tries to talk Sukbong down, warning him about the cost of revenge. Instead, Sukbong explodes, screaming about the abuse, the indifference, and a system that punishes victims while protecting their tormentors. In one final outburst, Sukbong breaks free from his restraints. Sukbong's rage erupts, causing a car crash in a tunnel. He frees himself while Byung-gu bleeds from the head and Junho lies unconscious. Without hesitation, Sukbong heads straight to Hwang, blindsiding and kidnapping him, turning the situation into a tense hostage crisis. The commander mobilizes a heavily armed special duty team, ready to storm the tunnels. Ji-seop, seeing the disproportionate response, teams up with Byung-gu, who's recovered from his injuries. Junho and Han join them, determined to bring Sukbong in safely before the situation escalates further. In the tunnels, Sukbong stands over Hwang, intent on revenge, but is interrupted by Detective Na. A brutal fight ensues, leaving Sukbong momentarily checked. Outside, Byung-gu confronts the commander, pleading for restraint, and manages to halt the aggressive plan. Back inside, Sukbong seizes the detective's gun, heightening the danger. A tense standoff follows as a bloodied Hwang begs for forgiveness. Han intervenes, appealing to Sukbong with the promise of a full investigation into the abusive unit. Frustrated, Sukbong fires at the tunnel ceiling, just as military police arrive. Junho reaches Sukbong first, sharing news that CNA got into college, hoping to bring him back from the edge. Surrounded by armed guards, Sukbong sees no escape and shoots himself in the throat, calling out for his mother as he slowly bleeds out. The aftermath shakes the unit. Byung-gu faces discipline, Captain Lim is transferred, and Junho walks defiantly away from the other soldiers, running in protest against the abusive military hierarchy despite having over 500 days left to serve. He stops to hear the sister of the first deserter plead for accountability, pushing Junho toward a personal reckoning. Determined, he seems set on going home to protect his mother from a cycle of abuse, hinting at a potential break from the system itself. In the post-credit scene, the cycle of violence continues. Another abused soldier snaps, wielding a machine gun and unleashing devastating consequences on his dormitory, showing that the system's brutality remains unbroken. After Sukbong's death, Byung-gu is pressured to take responsibility for the failures of the DP team. He's asked to sign a petition claiming Sukbong was mentally ill, concealing the real reasons behind his suicide. Byung-gu reflects on his own history of hazing and abuse, while Ji-seop urges him to comply quietly and wonders what Junho and Ho-yeol are doing. 413 days before Junho's discharge, he is called to the base. Hazing continues unabated, and the culture of bullying remains entrenched. With Ho-yeol hospitalized again, Junho is asked to lead the DP team and mentor Seung. On their first mission together, Junho quickly realizes Seung doesn't respect the work. He only joined to roam freely, claiming catching deserters is too risky. Junho overhears Seung bad-mouthing him over the phone, calling him naive. Tensions rise as the seniors begin hazing Corporal Hyo Jae-young. Watching the beatings, Junho is reminded of Sukbong and steps in, confronting the perpetrators. The seniors attack him, but Junho fights back, warning them to stop abusing the juniors. Meanwhile, Byung-gu is pressured by Warrant Officer Min-yu to sign the petition. Just as he is about to comply, alarms blare across the base. Kim Roo-ri, Sukbong's friend, has gone rogue, shooting his own seniors in retaliation for bullying. Junho completes his punishment for confronting the seniors and returns to his dorm, where Seung apologizes for belittling the DP mission. Jae-young informs them that Roo-ri has deserted the base with a weapon and warns Junho to be careful. The message resonates deeply, and Junho is touched by the trust shown. Junho notices Byung-gu back in his old office and learns that Seung was too scared to pursue Roo-ri. Ho-yeol will join the next mission, though he remains hospitalized and nonverbal. The tension rises further as Ho-yeol watches the news, learning that Roo-ri has gone rogue, setting the stage for a dangerous new crisis. Ho-yeol recalls the time he saved Roo-ri from bullying, now watching in shock as Roo-ri appears on the news after going rogue just 4 months later. Junho joins Ji-seop and Byung-gu at a press conference, where Lieutenant Colonel Seo-eun portrays Roo-ri as a violent threat to society, sharing his photo, address, and disturbing crime scene photos with the media. The revelation sparks public outrage, with crowds harassing Roo-ri's mother. Byung-gu tells Junho it's on him to reach Roo-ri first. Junho witnesses the victim's mother confront Roo-ri's mother, who insists her son was a victim of military bullying and apologizes for his actions. Ho-yeol arrives at the scene, now mute from the trauma. At the base, Ji-seop confronts Eun, learning she's his ex-wife and shares custody of their children. Eun emphasizes Roo-ri's high-risk profile and dismisses Ji-seop's objections, arguing his violent tendencies and history of playing violent video games make him dangerous. Meanwhile, Ruri contacts the media to expose bullying in the military, prompting his mother to beg Junho and Ho Yeol to save him. Byung-gu and Ji-seop attempt to investigate Minyu by breaking into his cabin, but he catches them, assaults them, and locks them inside. Eun prevents the soldiers from revealing that Ruri is unarmed, insisting he must appear as a threat to justify action. She later goes to Minyu's cabin, instructing Ji-seop and Byung-gu to stop pursuing Ruri, convinced he will turn himself in. At a supermarket, Ruri witnesses his mother being attacked by the public, enraging him. Military officers arrive to confront him, triggering a panic attack in Ho Yeol. Junho helps him calm down. Ruri threatens to detonate a bomb while holding a soldier hostage, and the military prepares to shoot him. Ho Yeol begins a live stream, promising Ruri that no soldiers will harm him, attempting to de-escalate the situation. Junho prevents the soldiers from interrupting the stream, and Eun hesitates to authorize shooting with millions watching. When the military cuts the internet, Ruri feels trapped with snipers aiming at him. Ruri's mother appears at the scene, calming him and preventing the bomb from detonating. Authorities promise him a fair trial, while Minyu is blamed for the mishandling of the situation. A flashback shows Corporal Jang Soo-min being beaten as a student for wanting to play a female character in a school play, with his senior warning that military service would teach him a lesson. Present day, Junho and Ho Yeol are recognized for helping Ruri survive the previous incident. Byung-gu warns that their merit is bittersweet, as it exposed the military's bullying culture. Instead of a break, the duo is tasked with tracking one of the three most notorious deserters, Soo-min. Ho Yeol recalls a past mission where he and Sung-woo first encountered Soo-min performing as a drag queen at a club. Soo-min faced relentless bullying for his sexuality and fears returning to the military. When Ho Yeol urges him to come back, Soo-min stabs him and flees. Junho and Ho Yeol revisit the club and learn Soo-min has disappeared. Directed to a private detective, they discover Soo-min is linked to a group of cross-dressing gangsters. A chaotic chase ensues, Ho Yeol in an electric ice cream truck and Junho on a bicycle, until the detective is caught and gives information on Soo-min, who now calls himself Nina and seeks anonymity after stabbing a soldier. Following Soo-min/Nina's trail, the soldiers learn he works two jobs, performing as Nina at a bar by night and laboring in a factory by day. Soo-min is eventually offered an acting role in London, reprising the role of Nina in a remake of The Seagull. Junho and Ho Yeol visit the hideout of the infamous 8-year deserter who helped Soo-min. Posing as deserters themselves, they are discovered and forced to flee. Junho ends up at the club, meeting Yang Ok, who wishes Nina well in escaping her past. At the international airport, Soo-min/Nina's fake passport is flagged, causing panic. Fleeing, Nina trips and suffers a severe head injury. Following the trail to an abandoned highway, Junho and Ho Yeol find Soo-min/Nina dead from excessive bleeding. The tragedy leaves the two soldiers reflecting on their own lives, questioning whether they will ever pursue their passions with the same courage Soo-min did. Ho Yeol trains Junho on proper rifle handling, while they reflect on the risks young soldiers face with deadly weapons. Eun meets Ji-seop, giving him a flash drive containing confidential data and revealing she lost her job for refusing to authorize Ruri's death. Byung-gu and Ji-seop meet Ja-woon, who requests a reinvestigation into Guard Post Staff Sergeant Na Young-suk's death. Ji-seop, personally connected to Young-suk, joins Junho on the case. They visit the GP near the North Korean border and meet Commander Hyo Tae-san, who guides them through the post and recounts surveillance stories. Flashbacks reveal Young-suk tried to save a Y from a landmine, but the device still exploded, killing him. Present day, Ji-seop interrogates a Y, who refuses to recount the traumatic incident. Suspicious of a cover-up, Ji-seop grows increasingly aggressive, accusing AY of causing Young-suk's death and ultimately beating him, inadvertently setting a fire. Ho Yeol, Junho, and Byung-gu arrive, discovering the cameras recorded Ji-seop's assault. Byung-gu reveals the truth. Young-suk had been a bully who hazed his juniors, and his death on the landmine was accidental. AY's trauma was the result of years of abuse, and the GP covered it up to protect him. Ji-seop is shocked as the news of his attack goes public, while Ja-woon questions if he will act responsibly knowing the real story. Meanwhile, Minyu manipulates Byung-gu with a trap involving a toy box filled with money, intending to frame him for accepting a bribe. Byung-gu learns he must retrieve the flash drive from Junho without exposing the documents. Junho waits at a repair shop and sees Shin Hae-yun, Woo-suk's sister and a human rights advocate, featured on the news. Gu informs Ho Yeol that Junho hasn't returned to base as expected, raising further tension. Seo-eun convinces Ruri to allow her to represent him in court, despite his insistence that he doesn't need a lawyer and is willing to face the consequences for his actions. Junho watches Ha-yeon's interview on TV, reflecting on Woo-suk's funeral and her question about what he did to help her brother. Junho examines the flash drive and discovers confidential military files, including reports revealing that one soldier survived Ruri's attack, contrary to official claims. He realizes the documents could expose the military and spark public outrage. Jawoon publicly lies about Ruri's victims, while Eun warns Ha-yeon to be cautious around powerful figures. Junho informs Ha-yeon that Hyung-beom died due to delayed medical care and arranges to meet her. Gu asks Ji-young to track Junho, who still hasn't returned with the flash drive. Ho Yeol postpones his discharge to help find Junho, and he and Gu visit Junho's mother, receiving a note assuring them he will return soon. Junho's father leaks information about the flash drive, prompting Jawoon to deploy over 30 soldiers to capture him. Junho boards a train to meet Ha-yeon while evading the pursuing soldiers, managing to knock several out and fend off attacks. Minyu confronts him, but Ho Yeol intervenes, preventing his arrest. Junho eventually faces Sung-woo, who knocks him out and destroys the flash drive. Ha-yeon waits at Woo-suk's tomb but finds only his lighter and a note from Junho apologizing, signaling the consequences of his mission. Sung-woo holds Junho hostage while recalling how Junho ruined his life after he was discharged from the military. Minyu discovers that the USB drive Junho carried was swapped with a fake, fueling his frustration. Dugwon reprimands Ho Yeol, Gu, and Ji-young for aiding a deserter, suspending Ji-young, while Ho Yeol voluntarily discharges to help find Junho and exposes the corruption of Jawoon and Minyu. Ho Yeol confronts Jawoon at a church, threatening to release a recording exposing corruption, demanding Junho's safety. Minyu orders Sung-woo to free Junho, but Junho escapes handcuffs during a car struggle and flees. Ha-yeon arrives at the base and discusses Woo-suk's death with Gu, who reveals Junho's guilt and determination to change the system. Junho meets his mother, promising to return once his mission is complete. Ho Yeol and Gu are tasked with finding Junho, now officially a deserter. Jawoon deploys soldiers to capture Junho on a train, but Junho fights them off, evading capture with Ho Yeol's help. In court, Eun defends Ruri, exposing military abuse and the deaths of soldiers like Hyung-beom. Ji-seop buys time to delay the hearing, sharing the truth about systemic negligence. Gu delivers the real flash drive, corroborating the evidence and taking responsibility for leaking it. The court rules in favor of the victims, ordering military officers to be incarcerated, while Ruri is taken into custody. Junho and Ha-yeol visit Gu in prison, thanking him for his sacrifice. Ha-yeol departs to Incheon, parting ways with Junho. On his bus ride, Junho reflects on the people he met in the military, spotting Jang-soo and recalling the lives touched by their experiences. The epilogue shows Sukbong alive, catching up with Junho at the base, bringing closure and hope. Our series comes to a close. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe and turn on notification button above to never miss any of our upload. Thank you and see you in the next one.